Welcome back to the garage, guys. I'm Damien, and this is the binder boat. As you probably saw in the last video, I cut the hole for the tack in my dash a little too big. Now I'm going to be honest with you, that part, not good. I had to make like a ring or a plate or something, just washer, if you will, to choke it down to fit the tack. Well, it's time to put that in and finish up everything else that has to do with the gauges in the dash. So today I'm picking up where I left off and getting that finally installed, as well as going through the rest of the installation process for the other gauges, so that when I get to that side of that part of the build, it'll be ready to go. First things first, I needed to clean the back of the dash area so that the JB weld had something to stick to. I realize it's probably best to weld it, but I really hate welding to the super thin stock sheet metal. And since it isn't a structural piece, I figured a decent epoxy will do just fine. And because the top of the tack hole had a bit of a curve left from the stock dash, I wanted the washer to sit flat, so I flattened it out with some pliers. Once I was satisfied with the fitment of the ring washer to the dash, I grabbed the JB weld and mixed some up in a disposable bowl. And after sprinting on the back of the dash, I positioned it in the hole and used vice grips to secure it while the JB weld cured. It did scare me a little bit. I didn't want my tools to become part of the bug, so I did use some paper towels to protect my tools from getting glued to the dash. With the ring washer secured, I used some more JB weld on the backside to make sure things stuck. Alright, here we are over 24 hours later, and I did do a little bit of sanding to clean it up, but for the most part, the JB weld worked awesome. You see, there was a little bit of paper towel that got stuck in it, but that is fine. Super happy with that, actually. It's going to be more than plenty. The actual gauges actually clamp themselves too, so this is really not at all structural. But it's nice to have a nice tight fit, and yeah, it worked out pretty well. All right, from the back side, it looks pretty good. See a little bit of paper towel in there. That's why I used the paper towels. I didn't want my tools to be embedded with the bug, but yeah, it worked out pretty well. Good stuff. As you probably saw, I made the backing plate for the 2 5/8 gauges in the last video, but now it's time to make the second one so that I can have everything all set when it's time to mount the gauges permanently. So I drew out and cut the template, and after marking where the holes need to be, I used the hole saw to cut them out. Then I cleaned them up with the grinder, and with things cleaned up, I got the gauges out and tested everything to make sure the holes lined up. They were close, but not perfect. So I marked them where I needed to open them up and got busy with a carbide burr. For anyone who hasn't ever mounted this type of gauge before, it's kind of simple. It basically just slides in like so. And typically, if this was just the straight dash, it wasn't the actual grill, I'm using a backing plate. So I'm going to have that in between, and this will attach to the metal dash. Well, this is the trim ring just on the outside. But anyway, oh, I got that upside down. But anyway, to hold itself in place, you basically just put this on. It'll slip right in, and you just put 2 screws, right, or 2 wing nuts or something of that nature. I don't know what you want to call them, but they're basically little self thumb screws, and it basically pushes in and pulls the gauge snug against the trim piece, as well as the dash and things of that nature. So that's how that whole system works, and that's why I'm making these little backing plates that are going to be attached to the actual bug itself. So just so you know, after I got the gauges in, I slid the backing plate. With a little trimming, I did the same with the larger gauges, but this time I installed the hold downs that squeeze the dash in place. All right, so there they are in place, all held down with the backing plates. But It's nice and solid. I'm very happy about that. I know now that these will fit perfectly in the dash. I just got to cut out the holes for the gauges into the new dash pad. Need to paint these. I'm probably going to put some indicator lights left and right up here. High beams, brake light, maybe an oil pressure gauge. That'll work, man. But yeah, that looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. Got the ring in here, got those in there, got the backing plates on. That wraps up the dash for the most part. The only thing I got to do is once I put the dash in, I got to put the, I have a 12 gain switch panel for right here for all my switches. I also have a second 12 gain switch panel for the lights. So the bumper lights, the roof lights, the ditch lights, probably break those up into spots and floods. Underglow, interior, whips, chase bar. So that's what? 9. It gives me 3 extra buttons for other lights I choose to put in later. But yeah, so far so good. That's all I have for this video. Just finishing up this dash and getting everything set. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Damien. This is the Binder Builder.